Hi guys, today I'm doing my 2014 wrap-up and my top 14 books of 2014. In total this year, my Goodreads goal was 45 books and I only read 30. So that's kind of sad, but I actually exceeded my goal. So I actually reread 16 books this year, and so really I exceeded my goal by 1, so I really read like 46 books. In total, this year I read 10,609 pages. What? I know a lot of people probably read a lot more than that, but I'm pretty proud of that number. So I'm just going to go through the top 14 books that I read this year, as well as the books that I read this year. First, I'm going to go through what I read this year and how many stars out of 5 I gave it on Goodreads, just to start it off. The first 2 books that I read this year were Insurgent and Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I gave Insurgent 5 out of 5 stars and I gave Allegiant 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I don't know if I said that right. I never seem to say it right, so I'm sorry. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read the Anomaly trilogy by Krista McGee, and I gave each of these books 5 stars. There's Anomaly, Luminary, and Revolutionary. All 5 stars. Love this trilogy. Then I read The Giver by Lois Lowry, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Growing Up Duggar by Janet Jill, Jessa, and Ginger Duggar, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I read the Selection Stories, The Prince and the Guard. These are 2 novellas from the Selection series, and I gave both of these novellas 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I read The One by Kira Cass. It came out in July, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars as well. Then I read The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Cinder, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Scarlet, I gave 5 out of 5 stars. And Cress, I also gave 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Taking by Kimberly Derting, and I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I really didn't like it very much. No, the concept was cool, but I really didn't enjoy this book. Then I finished Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I actually started this November of 2013 and I finished it this year finally, and I loved it. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I read The Invention of Hugo Cabret, and I gave this book 4 stars, I believe? Yes, I think so. Then I read 4 by Veronica Roth, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han. The Summer I Turned Pretty, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. It's Not Summer Without You, I also gave 4 out of 5 stars. And We'll Always Have Summer, I also gave 4 stars. Then I read The Maze Runner by James Dashner, and originally I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, but I changed it to 4 later on because I realized I really only liked the last third of the book the most. The rest was a little bit slow, but it was a really good book. I do recommend it. 4 stars is pretty good rating still, so I do recommend this book. Then I read The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, unfortunately. I thought it would be my favorite book of the year, but it really disappointed. If you want more information on that, I did a whole 25-minute long review that you can go watch if you want to hear my thoughts in more detail. Then I read Mr. Darcy's Diary by Amanda Grange, and I don't have this book with me, but I gave it 5 stars. Then I read Whiter Than Snow by Matthew Eldridge. I also don't have a copy of this because I read it on ebook, but I also enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Hiding Place by Corey ten Boom, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Again, I don't have a copy of it, but I read this for school actually, and I loved it. Then I read The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I did a video review on it if you want to watch that. I really liked this book a lot. And then the last book that I read this year was In Time by Alexandra Bracken, which is actually a novella, but it comes after The Darkest Minds, and I read that. And for when I'm filming this, 2014 isn't over yet. It's the 29th. And I'm currently reading Never Fade, but I'm not going to finish it before New Year's, so those are all the books that I read in 2014. Now let's get started into my top 14 books that I read this year. Number 14 would be Insurgent. I read this, this is the first book that I read this year, and I really liked it. But, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I think some of these on here I may have actually given 4 out of 5 stars, but I don't know, I just sort of felt like putting this at the end of the list. But I really did like this book, and I can't wait to reread it for the movie. Next is actually another Divergent book, and that is 4. This is number 13. I really enjoyed it a lot. It's so good. Number 12 on the list is Mr. Darcy's Diary by Amanda Grange. I just love this book, and I felt like it had to be on the list because I also read this for school, but it was just such a nice, interesting book, and I just love Mr. Darcy. It's just amazing. Number 11 is The Maze Runner by James Dashner, and some of these I may not say anything because I just don't have anything to say, so number 11, that's it. Number 10 on the list is The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. I just loved it to death. It was incredible. So yes, number 10. And then number 9 would be Growing Up Duggar. I really enjoyed this book. I love the Duggars, and I found this book really interesting, and there are just so many good things in here, and I just loved it so much. Coming in at number 8, we have The Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It should probably be number 1, but it's not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't be offended, please. I really did love this book. It's huge, but yes, it was incredible. Coming in at number 7 on the list is The One by Kira Kaz. Oh, I loved it. It was perfect. It was so perfect, and it just, oh. Yes, yes. Number 6 is The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. I'm actually kind of surprised that this is so high on the list, but it is a Heroes of Olympus book. I do love these characters. It just wasn't the big epic finale that I was hoping for. A lot of things didn't turn out the way I'd hoped they would. But, I mean, overall, I still love these characters, and it's the last book, and it needed to be on this list, so it's here. Number 5 on the list is the Anomaly trilogy by Kristen McGee, and I'm just gonna choose the whole trilogy because I'm gonna cheat. This was definitely one of the highlights of my year. Number 4 is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I loved this book. I just love how everything's in black and white, and then it comes into color, and I thought it was just told so beautifully, and it's a really small book, but I loved everything about it. It was such a beautiful, beautiful story. Number 3 on the list is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Again, a highlight of my year. There were things that I didn't like about it, but I mean, if you're saying overall, this book made me laugh so many times and cry so many times, and it was just such a beautiful story overall. I just adored it. I adored it. It was so good. Coming in at number 2 is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. You knew this was coming. I just loved it so much. I don't have no other reason. I just loved the characters so much, and it's just so good. So yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not liking Never Fade so far. So number 1 on the list is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. The first one I wasn't in love with. I only gave it 4 stars, if you remember. But these two, just, I don't know. I just couldn't relate to Cinder. That one aside, which I mean, I like it. But these two, yes. Scarlet, I picked it up because people said it just gets better, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna pick up Scarlet, and I did, and I instantly fell in love with these characters. Scarlet and Wolf, I love, and then Cress, oh my gosh, Cress is amazing. She's just like a fangirl who's awkward, just like all of us, and she's so relatable, and I just adored these two, and yes, that was, if I'm gonna cheat and say count a whole trilogy as one book, that was my favorite of the entire year. Those are all the books that I read in 2014, my top 14 of 2014. Please leave your top 5, 10, 14, whatever you want, books that you read this year in the comments below, because I'm really interested to know that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a Happy New Year. Okay, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye! Bug. Then I read Mr. Darcy's Diary, and I don't know who this is by actually. I give it 5 out of 5. Notice Allegiant did not make the list.
Buffalo girl, can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Buffalo cow, won't you come out tonight? And dance by the light of the moon. Okay.
And I just love Augustus and yeah, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say these characters and I was like, Augustus.
Number 1 on the list. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? I'm so excited. Okay.
I didn't really like Kai that much. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I don't like Kai that much. May the odds be ever in your favor in this new year. Yes. Wow.